So it's Arsenal versus Newcastle on Sunday. Arsenal's final home game of the season after a very, very awful Premier League season. I kind of just want the season to end, people. But don't worry, because the new kit's going to be out. Everyone's really gassing about the new kit. The players are going to be wearing a new kit. And yeah, it won't be Arteta. I'm sure we'll do his little speech after the game like we did last season. But anyway, is anyone actually confident for the game? Let me know in the chat. Newcastle beating us 3 times this season. We're not even scored against them. Not even scored against them this season. Arteta is getting done by Eddie Howe every single time he plays him. It seems like, especially this season, Eddie Howe seems to have Arteta's number, and it wouldn't surprise me if it results in the same way. Newcastle got a lot to play for. If they beat us, they go above us. If they beat us, they go above us. And even if we beat Southampton and they beat Everton, we've finished below them this season. After them winning the Carabao Cup, finishing above Arsenal, without even having to spend anything as well, hardly. This is where the problem is, really, guys, as you can see there. Big respect for Newcastle, though. Big respect. They're going in the right direction with Eddie Howe. They're going in the right direction as a club. Signing some, well, they're going to have money to spend this season, but also keeping Isak, keeping Bruno Guimaraes, having Tonali in the midfield, and then they can add to their squad as well if they really wanted to in the summer. They're going to hit Champions League football again. So I've got big respect for Newcastle. I think they're a top side, and they proved it this season against Arsenal. And that we really struggled to play against, and we really struggled to find a way to play against. And I really hope it's not the same result that we've been seeing this season. But I honestly wouldn't surprise me if we did see the same result. Because you know what it's been like with Arsenal in the Premier League. 14 draws this season. Even, I was at the Bournemouth game. I'm going to this game as well on the Sunday. Just the football is dross. It really is this season. I just want it to end as soon as possible. But we've still got 2 more games to play, unfortunately. But yeah, listen, it wouldn't surprise me if we do get another draw or no pressure FC. Arsenal may actually turn up because it's last home game of the season. We may actually win. And just because that's what we seem to always do. But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, in terms of the injuries for Arsenal, there'll be no Mikel Marino. There'll be no Declan Rice. I think is doubtful for the game as well. Timber's doubtful for the game. Trossard's a bit doubtful. There's a few doubts, but I think they're back in training. Havertz could be back as well. He could actually start the game or maybe come off the bench for Arsenal. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what we do in terms of the team selection. What I want to see, right, is #free Wanyeri. Wanyeri's surely got to start. Well, no Mikel Marino in the midfield, right? No, possibly no Rice. You have to play Wanyeri in there. There's no other choice. I don't know why else you don't play Wanyeri. So at the end of the day, he's got to play there for me. I don't know why he's not been getting any minutes recently. He's been getting 5 minutes off the bench, and it's just not good enough at all. And I don't understand the treatment that he's getting. But yeah, Newcastle top side, with Isak in there, and that's what you got to watch out for. Those battles between Isak and Saliba, or whoever it's going to be, Kivior. We struggled with Isak. We couldn't handle him in the game in all the games really. I think he might have scored. I think he might have scored against us in all 3 games. I think he did as well. It's not good enough. We really struggle against Isak. So that's going to be the big battle there as well. In the midfield as well with Bruno, Tonali. If they play Joe Linton in there, whoever it's going to be, up against our midfield is going to be the big test there as well. But I think overall, score prediction wise, I'm going to go with an Arsenal 1-1 draw. Unfortunately, guys, so it sounds negative, but I'm not confident whatsoever. Hopefully, they prove us wrong and we win 2-1. I'm going 1-1 draw. The teams line up. Let's get into that. Sign off in goal. Darren Raya kind of picks himself really. Back 4. I'll go Ben White back at right back because there's no other reason not to. Give Timber another rest. Why not? There's no need to really play him for these last 2 games. I'll give Ben White more minutes. 2 centre backs for me, Saliba and Calaflori. I don't think he's going to do that, but that's what I'll do. Calaflori is centre back and he's play centre back. Again, I'll give Kivior a rest for this one. Left back for me, Kieran Tierney. It's got to be there, no question about it. Midfield 3, Partey, Jorginho, Wanyeri for me. And then the front 3, Saka. Do we risk us? Do we play Saka for a sub game? There's no Marino. Martinelli again was a bit doubtful for the game. It may have to be Sterling, Trossard, and Martinelli. Martinelli, I want to see it down the middle though. I want to see him more centrally. If he's fully fit, I'm going Martinelli, Trossard, Sterling for me, or Saka, one of the two there. There we go. But that's my prediction, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. This here now from, of course, 100% Mags. I spoke to Carl from 100% Mags, absolute real one every single time. Let's see what he's got to say from more Newcastle perspective. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our opposition preview. Of course, we are here, Arsenal versus Newcastle. Arsenal's final home game of the season on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. And as always, whenever we play Newcastle, only one man to get on the channel. It is none other than Carl from 100% Mags. Carl, how you been keeping, my friend?
Not bad, mate. Been doing well.
Yes, and let's start straight away with how proud have you been this season? You know, seeing your boys lift the League Cup, obviously in the Champions League spot right now, possibly could be finishing most likely in the Champions League again. But talk to us a little bit about the transformation that you've seen in the recent years of Newcastle, because I remember, I think was it Steve Bruce, sort of that. What was your owner's name? Mike Ashley, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mike Ashley.
That era. You was, fighting relegation. You was in the gutter, but I know you got new owners in, and you've still been limited in terms of spending the money. But with Eddie Howe, he's got you Champions League like first season, then he's got you the League Cup. It seems the future's bright for Newcastle. But what have you made of it overall, man?
It's been a very exciting turn of fortunes for us since the Saudis have come in, since PIF, the Rubens and Amanda Staveley at the time. Of course, came into the club. Amanda Staveley no longer with her now, obviously, because she's departed from the club, is an owner, and it's just the Rubens and PIF now. But we're still on that same trajectory that, was set out from the get-go when they took over the club, and it's going really, really well. We're not doing it daft. We're not going out there spending big money right, left and centre like you see with the likes of, Chelsea, or other teams that have done it so far. We're doing it the right way. We're going about it in a conserved way, not trying to break FFP or anything like that, which is going to be hugely beneficial now come the summer window, because we're going to be able to go out there and invest heavily in the summer window after not being able to invest for the past couple of seasons, after putting like a small amount of investment in. But it's been a really good turnaround from what we were witnessing under the previous ownership. I mean, that was going absolutely nowhere. That was going in one direction, and it wasn't the direction we want to be going in as football fans, and what this great club should be going in. That our teams should definitely be playing, Champions League football every single season if we're good enough to play it. And we have proven that we are good enough to play it. We've got an absolutely fantastic squad. This season has proved that, with the amount of teams that we've took on this season and beaten, then winning, the League Cup, just cherry on top of the cake, just absolutely brilliant. After 70 years domestically, waiting for Newcastle to win the trophy, finally Newcastle win the trophy in 56 years if you count, the Intercities Fairs Cup. So in my lifetime, I've never ever seen Newcastle United win a domestic trophy, or just the trophy. The last thing I seen Newcastle lift was a championship on 2 occasions. We shouldn't have been there. We shouldn't have been there to do that. So I never really count that into the existence for trophies. So that was the first time that I got, along with my dad and my brother, to be able to witness Newcastle actually lifting the trophy, and it was just such an amazing occasion, and then going to be able to see the lads bring it home as well outside St James's Park, celebration on the town wire, was just absolutely it was just everything us Newcastle United fans have waited for. It really was just absolutely amazing, and just a magical moment. Just a magical moment for us Newcastle fans.
Yeah, 100%. One that you remember, I'm sure, for many years to come as well.
Definitely.
And you definitely hope, for many more for the future. That's what, you know, in terms of going into this upcoming season, after having a very good season, you're going to play European football again, Champions League. The window will be there for you to strengthen. You know, it looks like Isak could be staying. Bruno could be staying in the midfield. You've already got some fantastic squad of players. Honestly, how far do you think you can honestly go next season?
Well, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, we're not that far off, I don't think, from really challenging for a league title, and that's not
Yeah, I
coming
agree.
across as, you know, delusional by any means. I don't want to, you know, make it look like that. But when you look at the team that we've got, you know, they're like, just looking at the midfield alone, you know, you got Sandro Tonali there, you got Bruno there, you got Big Joe there. That's a hell of a midfield three. You know, one of the best midfield threes in the country right now, probably one of the best midfield threes in the world, I would say. When you look at just the attributes that are on show there, you've got the passing ability of Bruno, you know, you've got the absolute engine that is Sandro Tonali, just never seems to stop, constantly going all the time. And then the just pure physical specimen that is, you know, Joe Linton, just absolute warrior. And you don't get players like Joe Linton that much these days. They are dying breed, you know, the enforcer kind of players. You guys will know about that, you know, the likes of Patrick Vieira, that kind of player.
Yes, of
That
course.
just
Yeah.
muscles into people,
Yes.
just gets you off your seat, that kind of footballer. That's what, you know, we like to see as football fans. And it is a dying breed, so to see somebody like Joe Linton doing that in this day and age is just absolutely amazing. Then you add in the other players, you know, the likes of Isak, absolute world beater of a striker, well and truly worth the money that we paid for him. He's probably double, if not triple, maybe he's even quadruple the amount of value now for, you know, that kind of player. And the way he's been performing this season is just absolutely amazing. Putting up numbers, you know, that are just out of this world, putting in, you know, looking deep down into the stats of it for his shot accuracy and games per minute of goals and all that stuff. He's well ahead of the likes of, you know, Erling Haaland, who we all know what Haaland's capable of. So, you know, seeing Isak doing this, and Isak's just, you know, not coming from an area where it's Man City, you know, he's doing it in Newcastle United, you know, where we don't quite have that level of players that Man City's got at the moment, you know, where they're like literally probably in the top 5 of European teams right now, Man City, and they've been doing it for a long time in the Premier League. So to see, you know, a player like Isak doing that at us is just, you know, makes you wonder what could be if we get a couple more players in there as well. And then other standout players, you know, the likes of Jacob Murphy.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely amazing this season as well. You know, he's putting in probably one of his best games of his entire history. You know, as a player, he's hit a really good form. He's putting up absolute amazing numbers as well. And him and Isak just seem to click in the right way. So that's something that, you know, we're going to enjoy once again this season when we take on Arsenal, of course, and hopefully get to enjoy that a little bit more as well come next season as well. But it is looking really, really good. We just need a few more players, and I think, like we said yesterday on my channel, I think we could actually maybe challenge for a Premier League title next season.
100%. You know, I said the same thing, you know, on your channel yesterday, and I can definitely see that happening. You know, you're definitely going in the right direction. So obviously looking ahead into this game then, obviously a lot's on the line in terms of, I know for Arsenal fans, the title race is over, Liverpool won it, but if you beat us, you can go above us. You can honestly finish above us this season. Yeah, and I said it to you yesterday. What crazy Eddie Howe win, yeah? You know, League Cup, finishing above Arsenal as well. It's madness. But you know, you beat Arsenal 3 times this season. We're not even scored against you this season. Eddie Howe seems to have Arteta's number. What's the confidence levels for you going into tomorrow's game then? After seeing that, you know, you beat us 3 times this season already, and you got a lot to play for in terms of you can finish above us. Will your players, I'm sure, be fired up for it as well?
Yeah, like you say, what kind of, you know, level is Eddie Howe at right now? You know, his stock's very, very high. Everybody's starting to realise, you know, what us Newcastle United fans have been on about, and before he joined Newcastle as well, what Bournemouth fans were on about Eddie Howe. He's an absolutely amazing manager. He's got this talent to see the player in people as well. Pulling out players like Murphy. Nobody would have thought that Murphy could play the way he's played this season. Nobody would have thought to move a player like Joe Linton, who was struggling in the attack, to move him down into the midfield and play him as an enforcer. Nobody would have thought of that. Bruce never thought of that when he was here. And there's other players as well, the likes of Miley, when he broke into the team during the Champions League season. The game against PSG, played absolutely amazing, just playing Kylian Mbappe off the park. I mean, a lad of Lewis Miley's age should not be doing that, really, coming into the team, but he is, because of the talent that is there, and the talent that Eddie Howe has seen in him, bring him into the team and allow him, that ability to do things going forward. But the confidence is pretty high going into this game, I've got to say. As you can tell, I'm really excited to see what we can do in this game, and especially with the aspect of we're being able to move into second as well. That's just a cherry on top of the cake once again, for Newcastle to be able to go ahead in that table, push ourselves, most importantly, ahead of everybody else who's competing for that Champions League spot as well, because that's the main aim for this match. Obviously, like I say, finishing second would be amazing, but the main aim is to just go out there, perform, get the result, get the 3 points in the bag, and push ourselves further away in this challenge for Champions League football, because we need that Champions League football, really, if we're going to progress forward. Because if it's Europa League, then I do see we're going in there. If we did end up getting Europa League, I do see we're going in there and, winning that from the get-go. That's, again, not being deluded. It's just looking at the teams that are in there, the quality of the teams that are in there, looking at what Man United's done this season, looking at what Spurs have done this season in it. If them can do that and they're at that place in the Premier League, then, obviously a team of our stature should be able to go in there, and do exactly the same, if not better, in that competition. But that's not what we want. We don't want to be in the Europa League. We want to be in the Champions League. That's the aim to move forward, is to be in the best competition. In club football, the best competition is obviously the Champions League. It brings in the most money going forward, and the confidence is very, very high going into it. So we'll have to see what happens on the day.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of the team and lineup, what do you think Eddie Howe would go with, and what would be your predicted lineup for the game? Would it be rotation, or are you going to go fully strength? Because I said it to you yesterday, I think Arsenal have got a lot of injuries. No Declan Rice, no Marino suspended. Trossard, Timber, very doubtful. They didn't really train. Timber didn't train, Trossard back in training, so he's a bit of a doubt. So Arsenal may be a bit of rotation. What's it looking like for Newcastle side of things?
On our side of the things, it hasn't really changed since yesterday when we talked on my channel. Basically, it's still Lewis Hull's obviously going to be out. Matty Targett's still going to be out. Jamal Lascelles has started training on grass. So we've seen, him training on grass. He was available for the game against Chelsea. And then we've got the other ones, the likes of Joe Linton, who we don't know if he's going to be available. But as I said, yesterday, that if he is available, then that's going to be a massive boost, because I do believe it will come down to being a midfield game. That is where, the game tends to go quite a bit when we do play Arsenal. It always comes down to a midfield battle. And if we've got Joe Linton in there, then you do back us 100% for that battle. And then looking at the other players, the likes of Kieran Trippier, still yet to find out if, he's going to be available for the game, but hopefully he will be. Joe Willock as well, another one that is, again, if he's going to be available or not. The one worrying one is that recently, just today, we have seen that there is an absence of Sven Botman in the training footage going into this one. So it looks like he might have ended up picking up another injury on that knee that he had. He was withdrawn from the squad against Chelsea, of course. So I don't really see him being available, to be honest, but hopefully he is, because he does add that little bit to the defence for us. He's been missing quite a lot this season, Sven Botman, and if he had been there, I think, some of the results would have went a little bit more favourable towards us than what they have done. But it is what it is at the end of the day. We've seen it with quite a few players. The likes of Lascelles has been missing. Callum Wilson's been missing for quite a bit. Not that it really matters too much on that one, because Isak's been able to do, stuff this season. But it is nice to have, somebody there as a backup to allow Isak to have a rest. And Isak himself has got a bit of a knock as well. Something to do with a groin problem that he's been having. But I think he will still be available for this game. But other than that, nothing really changed since yesterday on the injury side of things, mate.
There we go. Let's obviously get into the big score prediction. I'm going with what I said yesterday. I'm still going with a 1-1 draw, but I said also it wouldn't surprise me if you guys beat us. We drew 14 times this season. We've been playing some really, really poor football. But I kind of think Arsenal, we need to be fired up for it. It's last home game of the season. We want to finish off strong at home. So I'm hoping maybe we can nick a win. But at the same time, I'm not feeling confident whatsoever. You're top side. That's why I went 1-1. But what would be your score prediction, man?
Again, not really changed since yesterday. Going to go with that 2-1 win for Newcastle. I think that's probably a justified score, considering how tight the game's probably going to be. On Sunday, it's going to be a really, really tight game. So I think we'll edge it with that 2-1 against us.
Fair play, Carl. Before we do get out of here, if you want to shout out where people can find you and what content you got coming up as well, if that's okay, man.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Thanks for having us on as well. As always, guys, you can go check out my channel at 100PCT Mags on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, or X as it's called these days, Instagram, TikTok, all of them ones. Just search at 100% Mags. I'm sure you'll find us on there. But main content is always on YouTube. I do all Newcastle United previews, reviews, anything Newcastle United, it's going to be on my channel. And I do have some stuff coming up. Of course, obviously, the match reaction to the game against Arsenal, but there will also be some other videos coming on the channel as well, which hopefully will go ahead. But at the moment, still doing a bit of planning on them, so can't really say much about them ones. But other than that, that's basically everything about 100% Mags and where you can find us.
There we go, guys. Thanks for anyone who watched the video. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, come on, you Gunners. May the best team win, of course, for Sunday, Carl. And hopefully we'll, of course, do this again next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, big up everyone, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.